Hi, I'm Shika. Thank you for joining me here today. I used to work as a counselor and now I create done for you coaching tools for coaches. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the shiny object syndrome in business. And I was motivated to create this episode because I was following a course from another intuitive coach, and she was interviewing another business person who was experiencing this shiny object syndrome. Basically, this person wanted to pursue many ideas, many business ideas, and she wanted to try a lot of different things, but she knows that not everything should be turned into a business, and she knows that some things are just meant for leisure, and not, like I mentioned, not everything has to be turned into a business. So basically, if you are facing this shiny object syndrome as a business person, I have 4 tips to share with you on how we can handle it so that we don't fall victim whenever a new idea pops up. All right. Okay, so for in general, maybe as a business owner, you know friends who are very successful in certain fields. Maybe you have a friend who's making a lot of money in real estate, or maybe you know someone, you know another coach who is making $400 an hour. Maybe she's charging $400 per session with her, or perhaps you know someone who has a very stable job, very stable, very reliable career, and you are pretty much seduced by how stable it is, and you're very tempted by all these possibilities, and you want to chase some of them. Sometimes you feel tempted to chase some of them, especially when your business is doing so, not doing that great, but not doing horribly either. And you may feel tempted to start something new or be tempted to introduce a new offer in your business. And before we do that, before we pursue another idea, I think it's good to bear in mind that there are some things we have to remember before we pursue an idea, just in case we regret it in future, or just in case we are making mistakes. All right, so let's get started. And I think the first thing we should know before we pursue an idea or an endeavor, for example, we should know what our top values are. So I was tempted for a long time to offer one-to-one sessions with people. And I know my top value, personally, my top value is freedom. And I know theoretically that offering one-to-one sessions is not going to make me happy. I love freedom in my schedules. I love having lots of empty space in my schedules, and I don't really enjoy being pressured to be somewhere at a certain time. So I let that idea go because I know my values pretty well. I know that number one is freedom. And you need to know what your values are as well before you pursue a certain idea or a certain business endeavor. And if you are still not sure what your values are, I believe I have an exercise for that in my blog. I have many free coaching lead magnets in my blog, and sometimes I lose track of them. But I'm pretty sure I have something like this, and I will link it in my description box, and you can download it and use it on yourself. So if you're still struggling and not sure what your values are, you can do this exercise, which I'm going to link in my description box, and hopefully that will help you. All right, so if you know your value is freedom, obviously anything which is time restrictive or anything which is very quote unquote rigid is not something that you should pursue. And at the same time, some people have a very extreme method of handling this shiny object syndrome. So what they do is that they go through with the idea. So what they would do, for example, maybe they have this dream of setting up a home-based bakery, and they're very excited by the idea. What some people do, and this is quite an extreme method, like I mentioned, is that they would really go all out and pretend that they are really living out that dream. So they would, set up an Instagram page for it. They would even set up a website for it. And there are many, and I believe, Wix or Squarespace do offer free websites. If I'm not wrong, I'm not sure if they still do. So you can, if you are having this shiny object syndrome, you can also use this method, set up a free website just to get a feel of what it's like to run that dream, that so-called imaginary business. So you can go all out, have an Instagram page, have a website set up, maybe even do lots of research about what it takes to be a baker, watch baking videos, or even bake a cake or two, pretend that someone is, ordering from you, and you literally live out that dream and see whether it's something which you like and something which you enjoy and something which fits in with your values. So that is one way for you to do it. You can take the extreme method and really live it out. Or for example, if you are someone who is very tempted by, you have a friend who is doing really well in real estate, for example, and you're very tempted to join that line of work because of how lucrative it is, and purely for the money, which is always not a good choice, by the way. It's not good to pursue something solely for money. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, what I'm saying is that, for example, if you are tempted by another career path, what you can do is you can literally buy books and read about them. For example, if you want to take certain examinations or tests before you can become a real estate agent, for example, you can buy related books and pretend that you're really studying for the test. You can even register for the tests if you are daring enough. Or you can even, read up on what it takes to be a real estate agent, or even talk to real estate agents themselves and see whether that is something you are interested in. And usually, after trying this out, if the career path or that endeavor is not meant for you, you will lose interest pretty fast. So maybe within a few days, you will realize that this career path is clashes with your values or clashes with your interests, or maybe you find that it's just not worth it. Maybe it's lucrative, but you have to sacrifice your interests or sacrifice many other things, and you feel that it's not worth it. So it may take days, it may take weeks for you to realize that. Personally, for me, if I live this out, if I follow this method and live out an imaginary dream, it will just take me days to realize that something is not meant for me. You can try it and see whether it works for you. So that is one extreme way to do it. Another way for you to handle shiny object syndrome is for you to be sensitive and be aware of where that excitable feeling comes from. So if you're feeling giddy with excitement and the feeling is mostly in your head, I don't know how else to describe it, but if you feel really excited about the idea and you're really giddy about it, and I am thinking of a dog which is panting with excitement. If you get that kind of uncontrollable excitement, there is a possibility that that idea may not be something you should pursue, because it's something which satisfies your ego more than your intuition. So if you get that kind of idea, that kind of feeling that this idea is just, there's so much uncontrollable excitement, you're giddy with excitement, and you feel like you will know that feeling when you experience it. I can't put it in words, but when you experience it, you will know what I mean. And as opposed to following your intuition, when it tells you to do something, it has a very different feel to it. It feels more stable, more calm. It's like a knowing feeling, and the feeling stays there no matter what happens around you, no matter what chaos happens around you, no matter what happens in your life. That feeling stays there for days, months, and years. So if you have that feeling usually in your gut, that is probably something that you can pursue. It's most likely something that your intuition or your inner wisdom is telling you to pursue. Of course, you've got to try it out and see whether this works for you or not. And this method requires us to be more sensitive with our inner selves. And what else do I have to share with you today? All right. So sometimes you may have this strong intuition to pursue something, but it may not always be an easy path. Maybe you have this intuition to set up a certain business and you realize that there is a lot of work involved in it. Well, let's bear in mind that if something is hard, it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's an opportunity for you to grow as a person. And we know that life is mostly about self-growth and improving ourselves and expanding our perception and all that. So sometimes if things are hard, it may actually be a good thing, because maybe you are meant to grow in that path. So if something is hard, don't always be put off by it. Another thing that I want to share with you is that do not take action on something unless you are 100% committed to it, unless mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, you are agreeable to it. So sometimes there is an idea or there is an endeavor you may feel excited about, but there is that small part of you which is holding you back. If you have that, it's good to not jump into the endeavor until all parts of you are in alignment, until all parts of you are 100% sure that this is something you should pursue. Because that part that's holding you back can slow down your progress. It will slow down your progress. You will be second guessing yourself. You will be really slow in that path. You will not progress. You will not catapult to success. And the path will be really slow and painful for you. It'll be painful for you mentally if you are going to do that. So that's why I mentioned that if you want to pursue something, we have to be sure that all parts of us are 100% in it. And then that's when you feel ease and you feel ease. I think most of all you feel that. And that is what we should be looking for. Okay, so I think that's all I've got to share today. It's just a short video and a short podcast episode. And I hope this has been helpful for you. This is an impromptu episode, so I'm sorry if there are any glitches or if it's not as smooth as I hoped. So thank you for being here with me today, and I'll see you in my next episode. Goodbye.